in the secret place of just being myself with him, how I really feel about a situation, for better or for worse, that's where my songs are born from, because I'm not afraid of how I feel anymore. Grew up in a Christian home, went to church regularly, always felt like I knew God. When it comes to that feeling of value, it wasn't anyone's specific fault, but just a mindset of that everyone else mattered more. When I was about 5 or 6 and I was driving in the car with my family, there was this ballet studio. On the windows were silhouettes of beautiful figures doing ballet, and I expressed out loud in the presence of my siblings that when I grew up I wanted to be a ballerina and I wanted to be beautiful. One of my siblings turned to me and said, "You can't be a ballerina because ballerinas are pretty." And I immediately felt that shut down and that death to something inside of me that wanted to be beautiful and captivating and glorious, you know. I've always been musical. I've always had a song on my heart. So there was one time I was asked to be a part of a worship team. I led the whole set and it was out of my comfort zone and I did it anyways, but in return all I got was criticism. It fed into the lies that I entertained in my head, that I wasn't valuable, that even when I was giving my heart on behalf of the Lord, that even He wasn't pleased with me. At least that's what I thought. And that I wasn't even enough for Him. I figured if everyone else could do it better, then I'll just let them and I'll back out of their way. So I just became numb. Got married and had babies. I started having a lot of miscarriages. I felt like I wasn't even good at being a mom. I have 4 children now, but I've had 7 miscarriages. 4 of them were in 1 year. By the 4th one, we were completely broke. The more that we would try to take advice and do things the right way, it seemed like it was a disaster. And so when I got to that hospital that day and they saw that there was no heartbeat, I had no ability to make things right. I had no control over the situation and I felt completely vulnerable and helpless. I delivered the baby by myself. I was all alone. I asked my husband if he could give me the privacy and take the kids out of the house and give me some private time. And I didn't really know what to do from there, and so I just felt like the most honorable thing to do for that baby was just to bury it. And so when the sun set and it got dark, I just quietly went outside by myself. And I just remember looking at the baby in my hands and I just said, "I'm so sorry that we had to meet this way. You're loved and you're wanted." And I just remember this uncontrollable pain, grittiness. I could feel the grains of the dirt under my nails. And it was so cold and it was so raw and it was so painful. And I felt so human as I laid it in the ground and began to just cover it with dirt. It was the deepest pain I'd ever felt. I still had these thoughts come to me and torment me that, you know, compared to other people in other countries, someone could be going through the same pain and they could be out in the field harvesting their rice, and if they have to bury their baby, they just need to suck it up and deal with it and keep harvesting because tonight, otherwise they're not going to eat dinner. And even in this vulnerable, painful moment, I was still thinking, well, it's not as bad as it could be, so I need to just suck it up and deal with it. The next day, I got in the car, all the dashboard lights came on, and I was like, just one more thing, are you kidding me? I couldn't figure out why I couldn't do anything right. And so I thought, oh, okay, well, I don't have any money to fix my car, but I still have insurance. What if I could just get hit by a car? Then my insurance would fix my car for me. And I'm driving down the street. God, if you love me, just let a car hit me. As I got home and I parked my car, safe and sound, I just completely lost it because He wouldn't provide for me with His goodness, and He wouldn't even provide for me through letting my needs be met through more tragedy. The kids were asleep and it was just me and my husband, and I was talking to him. I don't understand why, if everything is falling apart, I couldn't just have $1,000 appear in my bank account tomorrow morning to help me with all the other pain and not have to go through all of it with completely nothing, completely abandoned, completely
without anything that I need.
I don't want to be this pathetic little girl who's weak and in need.
I want to be his strong girl, the daughter who sits at the round table and governs the affairs of the kingdom and talks to him, discuss things with him. I don't want to be weak and needy.
My husband turned to me and said, I think that's it though. I think that's what God's wanted all along. He just wants you to be his little girl. He just wants us to let him love us. By the end of the night, it was just a resolve in my heart, like, God, I'm just gonna let you love me. I can just go to my Father in heaven and just say, Dada, and just let him love me. I don't have to figure it out and I don't have to be strong. I can be weak because he's strong for me. Hey everyone, I hate saying this, but I lost the baby. Please don't surround me with I'm sorries, because it haunts me to replace all the I'm sorries with I love yous. And I was just flooded with so many people telling me that they loved me. My pain was valid and that they were there for me. One friend that saw that lived in another state, she called me and let me know how much she loved me. By the way, can I have your bank account number? When I called the bank to check our balance, there was $1,000 in the account. And there's no way she could have heard that conversation the night before. It felt like from that moment, I was able to more clearly see God's love for me. When I began to be more raw and honest with everything that I felt, the good and the bad, that all along the fingerprints on all this disaster were not his fingerprints, and that he was actually for me, he was with me, and he cared how I felt, he cared that it hurt. I now had this capacity of joy that was just so overwhelming, and I remember just letting him enjoy me, celebrate that I was valuable to him and that I mattered, even though all the circumstances didn't change. When I felt like he was asking me to return to music, I agreed to return to the mic and to do a worship set. I remember feeling all the criticism and all the weight of all the words that has ever tormented me. I just began to sing to the Lord, and I could feel this heaviness lift, this pressure lift. There was just such freedom to not overthink it and just to express my love to my Father. Everyone else's opinion doesn't matter anymore in the best of ways, that I'm just his and that I'm loved. So God began to open doors for gatherings, for church services, time and again when I just begin to sing and release my worship, that people begin to weep and it pierces their hearts, and people can cry uncontrollably or just begin to laugh and experience the joy of the truth that he's revealing to them in that moment.
I will worship, I will treasure, I will love you above any other, and I will follow, I will pursue, and I will seek you above any other, above any other God, above any other love, above any other name. I will worship, and I will treasure, I will love you above any other, and I will follow, and I'll pursue, and I have found you.